Oh, let me start by this. How do you understand criticism, and how do you understand correction? Um, what do you think is the difference between the two?
Correction is when when there is fault in somebody's work,
Yeah.
and then another person is trying to make the person see the wrong and trying to right the wrong.
Okay.
While criticism does not necessarily mean that the person is wrong, but you just feel like sometimes you just feel like, or sometimes you just feel like you, or maybe the person's opinion, sure, because we are taking this guy as an example of a food critic.
Okay.
Sometimes he says the truth, but sometimes I feel like on Jambla. So criticism to me, I feel like it doesn't necessarily mean that that person is wrong. You might just be giving your opinion, or you might not just agree with the person based on other factors.
All right. Thank you for that. Who again is saying something?
I said criticism to me is like pointing out flaws.
All right.
In fact, most of the time without providing solutions.
Okay.
And most of the time it tends to be negative and judgmental.
All right.
While correction aims to fix mistakes and improve on something.
Blessing, let the talk go with dictionary, man.
Mi lọ́pọlọ nìkan tó sọ nìyẹn.
Ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ àti ẹ̀mọ́ra wa náà.
Peter ni o láìpẹ́. Ó wá ń ṣe yẹyẹ pàdé ẹ̀ níta.
No, criticize it. Criticize it.
Àwọn ajára ti dùn lọ́rọ̀.
Pé ní wọ́tá mọ̀.
Ó wá ń ṣe yẹyẹ pàdé ẹ̀ níta gbà.
Okay. Okay. Who is helping us to add something to that?
Like Victor said, correction. When you correct somebody, you most likely have a solution, or have a better way the person can do that thing the person has. You understand? You most likely have a better way of solving that problem. You understand? That is a solution or a better approach that can be used to fix that problem that the person is facing. Maybe, for example, someone goes through something, or someone is given an assignment, and then, like when we are in school, then when they say go and do your collection, you understand? They say you must have seen a better approach to solving that problem. That's what I feel correction is about. Then criticism can be of two types. It can be constructive criticism, which is in the light of positive response to what someone did. You understand? Or it can be I've forgotten the other one now. I think they usually call it destructive criticism. Yeah, destructive criticism. That's in the negative aspect. So correction most likely always looks in the positive direction. You understand? A better way of doing something. But criticism can either be negative or positive. It can even criticism can come out from a standpoint of envy, or a standpoint of jealousy. You understand? Or depending on the people that are involved, the two people that are involved. You understand? The person that is criticizing, and the person that is being criticized. So there are two parties involved. Then it can come from the standpoint of jealousy or envy, which will tend to destructive criticism. and if it's coming from the standpoint of true desire for the person to do the right thing, then to be constructive. You understand? It's from the standpoint of building up. When you're trying to build up, then it will be constructive. So that's what I think about both.
Alright. Like you all have said, it's true in the sense that when it comes to correction, to a large extent, in fact, if I want to put it simply, I'll say most of the time the difference in both is just that one, the person is not involved, and the other one, the person is involved. That is, when you do correction, the person who make the mistake is often not involved. Like, okay, you are laying these blocks. You are supposed to put the bigger one under and then put the smaller one on top of it. Next time you want to do this is what you should do. That is correction, helping the person get better. But most of the time, it's not rubbed on the person's face. And like the example of school, when they say you should go and do your correction, sometimes even the teacher or the lecturer will be the one to write the correct way of doing it on the board. And they ask you to go and do your correction. Then you find a better way or a more correct way of doing what you are doing or what you have done wrong. You find a way of writing it. Now, when it comes to criticism, it's very difficult to criticize without the person being involved. And when the person is involved, it's most of the time derogatory when you even talk about what the person did or has done. And then it also talks about the state of mind of the person correcting or criticizing. Because when you correct, to a large extent, it's always from the place of admiration, it's always from the place of care, of
love, and the mindset of the other person getting better.
Exactly. Wanting to improve the person, getting better at their work or whatever they do. So that's where correction always comes from. That's why you say, oh, you could have done it like this. Oh yeah, do it like this. Put this. No, this is the person you call first. So correction comes that simple. And on top of it is, correction don't go without the solution being provided. So that this correction sees what you have done wrong, but it will not stop at letting you know what you have done wrong. There is always a solution coming with it. So let's take painting for instance. I don't know how to paint, right? But I know that the way this painting is on this wall is not looking okay. And I want you to be taking jobs with, say, big companies, painting for big businesses and stuff like that. But I don't know shit about painting, right? Apart from the fact that if I see it, I know this is not done. But how to paint, how to handle the brush, how to spray, whatever it is, I don't know how to do it. And I see what you have done, I know that you could have done it better. It will become criticism if I stop at the point of pointing out what you have done wrong. Because the fact that I don't know how to paint does not mean I cannot provide solution. And in that case, what kind of solution can I possibly provide? Probably tell you one or two people you can call who have done the kind of job you are doing, who can show you how to better do it. Probably show you a video, a documentary, something I've seen that people have that have helped people to do something better in the line of work you are doing. So, in its ultimate expression, correction does not go without providing solution. Anytime, any day. So if I tell you that's not how to treat your wife, instead of shouting that's not how to treat your wife, this and that, I should be able to also tell you that, okay, maybe next time she does something like this is what you should do. Or if I don't know what to do, I can refer you to relationship expert and stuff like that. And maybe sometimes I can also tell you, maybe you have to pray that God will give you wisdom on how to handle things and stuff like that. But basically and ultimately, correction does not go without providing solution. And now, this is where it gets interesting. Before I even go into criticism, it is on correction that most businesses are built. You look at your business, and when they ask you, or when you are drafting the mission, the vision, and all your processes and everything, you have put everything together, you have written it down, and when they ask you, what motivates you to say you want to come and do this business? Why do you think this is the business you're supposed to do? Then you begin to give stories like, well, I was working in so place, then I noticed that most of the people that come and work for us on this matter, this is what they do, and I think it should be done like this, and as a result of that, your own business is birthed. Most businesses, it does not mean all businesses, but most businesses are built on that basic principle of correction. Lamborghini was as a result of faulty brakes in Ferrari. Every other thing were now added to that. But Lamborghini came as a result of him trying to fix the clutch, is it clutch or brake problem in Ferrari. And you approach the man that owns Ferrari and say, you have this problem. If you can do partnership, we can fix this together and make the best cars. And the man was like, Ogbeni, go back to your tractors. Stuff like that. And the guy felt, okay, I can actually do this. Coupled with his competitive character, wanting to build the best car, wanting to fight Ferrari and different other things like that. But its main reason of coming is to correct something. Now, the sachet milk came to correct the notion that only the rich can have access to milk. So not everybody can afford the tin milk. So let's correct that and make sure everybody have access to milk, and then they sachet it out for every other person. Now, another instance, this guy, African landlord, for instance, he said he was looking to rent an apartment, and then he discovered that every time they want to go and do an inspection of where they want to rent, the agent guy will always ask for inspection fee. And along the way, he came across maybe 2, 3 or 4 other guys who were looking for apartments. Then he gathered all of them. The agent said the inspection fee was maybe 20k or 50k or so. And then he called the remaining 5 people and told them inspection fee is 50k. He collected 50k from each of them, gave the agent 50k, kept the remaining over 200k. They went for inspection, and that was how his own real estate business started. trying to correct a fault that's already in the industry. And it was like, okay, if this can be done, why should people pay fee before they inspect? And from that point, it has moved to a point where he now owns land, owns different building properties across Lagos and different other places where the guy is presently. Now, that is correction. Correction does not go without providing the solution. Irrespective of how the person you are correcting is taking it, if for correction to be complete, it must prefer solution. And you can look at that in the businesses you want to do, that you are doing. For instance, one of the things we do at Glasshouse Waters is when we started, we discovered that most of the people that do borehole, if they carry out a geophysical survey and they discover that what they want to drill for you is 100 meters, they will tell you it's 120. So by the reason of that, they get to keep whatever money they are supposed to use to drill the remaining 20. Right. And then we also saw that most of the water people drink don't actually meet to standard for whatever reason. And we said, okay, we can actually control that. Making sure that if we tell you that your borehole is 20 meters, that's what you are going to find there. And if we tell you are going to see water there, you are going to see water there. Your money is not going to be wasted. You may see it to be costly, maybe it's not as cheap as those that want to dupe you, but for whatever reason, we make sure that what we tell you about your water is what you find there. That is correction. It doesn't go without providing a solution. A lot of businesses have been built around this, and many more businesses will still be built around it. Correction is how Microsoft came to be. Microsoft was working with IBM. So Microsoft was trying to correct the fact that people have to open a lot of files before they get to the application they run. So they thought of making an icon on the home screen so that everybody can just click and then move straight into the app and do whatever they have to do. And that was how Microsoft came to be today. So even as big as it is. So how did Tesla come to be? Trying to correct the emission into the atmosphere. So instead of using fuels, why don't we use batteries and make sure we reduce environmental contamination, release of smoke and dangerous gases into the atmosphere? You know how big Tesla is today. You know how big Microsoft is today. Look at major big companies. They are always trying to correct something, and that's how they have become big. So you want to look at your own business, your own career as it is. What problem is available in this industry? If I can correct it on a bigger scale, then you can make as much amount of money as you would like to make. So let's bear that in mind. So as you go in your business or the new business you want to create, you just have to look at that industry, study it, and then find the problem with the industry and then provide solution to it. Right. So beyond just correcting an individual on whatever character, whatever fault they have made, you can do it on a bigger scale, that is coming to an industry and correcting an error that's in the industry already, preferring solution, and then you make a business out of that. And that way you can achieve your financial freedom or even become a household name. So that's that. Now, criticism. This is the interesting part, because criticism many times don't get anything done. In fact, if there's anything to get done, it's a distraction to the person that is trying to get something done. And the example of painting I gave, imagine glitters painting now. And I'm saying, no, this paint is not good. This brush is bad. This bucket is not fine. The water you are using is dirty. This and that. But all the while the guy is working, I'm complaining, I'm talking, there's no solution inside of it. And I'm telling him, guy, why are you working like this? Why are you this? Why are you that? The guy will become tired. In fact, he will lose concentration on the one he's doing presently because of my own criticism if care is not taken. And that's the way it works in life. Even as you relate with yourself, relate with your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever it is that you want to talk about, just make sure that it is not just a criticism. It's a correction that comes with a solution. So that by the time you are done with them, they know that it's not for hatred, it's for their own betterment. So that if I want to correct Glitter's painting, it's not from hatred, it's that by the time I'm done saying whatever I want to say, he knows the right place to go to improve his own skill, if possible to correct the painting he has done before. And at the same time, he's still happy that he has somebody who can actually do that for him. And let's take for instance, this showmaker, what do you call that guy? The food critic, or what do you call him? Yeah. You see, that guy does not cook shit. He does not cook spaghetti, he does not make any wine, he does not wash even the cup, he does not. He just got there and then tell you, this is how you are supposed to handle your cup. This jollof is not as good as the one in Ghana. This pounded yam is not soft. Now, that is what we call criticism. Because really, there's no solution around it. All it just says is point out the fault. And it doesn't matter how good, how acceptable, how important you are in an organization, in an industry, anywhere at all. If all you do is point out people's faults, then you begin to create problems. Because the more fault you point out, the more people begin to associate the problem with you. And so you don't want to put yourself in that position where people just hate you for no reason. And then you as a person don't want to be the one who destroy people's work by the things you say. Like when Dimeo was talking about the destructive criticism. Every time you criticize somebody and you don't have a solution to offer at the end of the day, it's destructive. In many ways, either you stop them from performing functionally and optimally at their work, or you stop them from accepting you as a person. That is, if they are doing something and they see you coming, they will either stop that thing until you leave, or they continue to do it in defiance that we don't even care. He will talk and he will talk. Once it's done, he will leave. Right? Criticism in all its power can actually destroy something good. And then it makes things that are not as terrible appear as though they are even more terrible. And then, what am I saying? Now, does it mean that even from criticism you cannot make money? No. Like the guy we're talking about criticizes food, but at least we check out some food, we do some endorsement and stuff like that. In fact, I think the guy is even getting better that he would then recommend some places to visit. That is, they do well here, you should visit here. That kind of a thing. That's calling people to come and patronize that person. And I think I saw one of his video he did that he criticized somebody's food, and then maybe after maybe 2 or 3 months they closed down from that particular spot, then opened in another spot. And it was like people said it's the one, blah blah blah. Then he gave example that it's not the one. No, this was government doing something, and then they have to open somewhere else. Then he went to that their new place, gave the address, and told people to come. Now, those are the kind of things that criticism actually cause. Of course, in this case, I'm not saying that's what his own criticism caused for that food vendor. But what I'm saying is, when you criticize, many times you don't even know who is passing by. And because that's the first contact they're having with that person, they begin to see that for this person to be saying this, probably this person is not as good. But that's on one part. On the second part is that there is what we call negative association or something. That when you speak bad of people, other people listening begin to associate that bad with you that speak it about other people. So if you are coming, let's say every time you come around now, I say something bad about Alaga, for instance, we are co-tenants here, and I speak something bad about her. Irrespective of how friendly you are to me, it's only a matter of time before you begin to think that if this guy can be speaking bad about this person, how sure am I that he's not even speaking bad about me to other people? That's the way it works. So also, when you go in your businesses, you can afford to have your business as a criticism business, where you criticize other businesses in that same industry without you having a solution to the things they do. And now this is something very common in the church, where you see pastors correcting or criticizing some pastors' message or the things they say. What they simply do after that they don't know is that other people just begin to see them as, who is this guy? What does he think of himself? Right? But above every other thing, I'm bringing this to us this morning to say that as much as this is personal, that you relate with your own person, your own G, the people you roll together to say, okay, guy, don't do this, stuff like that. It can also be on a bigger scale, business-wise, nationally, politically, in fact, continentally. In fact, you see, worldwide, countries antagonizing, criticizing other countries for taking certain actions. But most importantly, for us here is what we actually become as a result of what we do. So I'm saying that as we have these two, my encouragement or charge to us will be that we embrace the path of correction. And many times it might not be you telling somebody this is what you should have done. It might just be you stepping in to provide the correction necessary for the industry you work in, such that it can become your own business. Right? Prefer the solution. What processes, for instance, if you do alaga work now, you say what are the processes? They first call you, they ask for price, you negotiate, they send money, and then you go and buy the stuff you need, and then you go for the event whichever day. And you look at that critically and you say, oh, there is an error with the way we do things like this. How about instead of taking a long time to actually reach conclusion, how about maybe when they reach out to you, you have all the processes listed out, say in a card or in a particular page. They talk to you, once they talk to you, and then you just send to them, they check through, and by the time they call back, all you do is seal the deal, right? So instead of doing 2-3 days, 1 week on negotiation, it can be done within 2 days. Now, I don't know the alaga business. I don't know if that's how it works, but I'm just giving a scenario. Say somebody in that industry just look at it and say, oh, this is taking too long. So instead of doing this, why don't I make it easy for my client? So once they come, they know what's available, and then we go straight to business. Or they look at it and they say, okay, we want something bespoke. Of everything you have listed, we don't want any of it, or we want you to add something and add something. But still within that stuff, you can still do your work the easiest way possible that they have ever seen anywhere. And then business is smooth, soft, fast and easy. And that way that becomes what your own business capitalizes on, that makes you better than every other person doing alaga work. And then I can look at my water work and say you are operating a resort or an hotel, and you have to wait for Kabiru to come back from farm or from field before you can come and fix your water problem. And then I say Glasshouse Water has a 24/7 service. All you have to do is to put a call through and we'll be there within 5-10 minutes, irrespective of your location. And that can just be what I capitalize on. And that way, providing solution, correcting the error that's already in the business, and then we become as great as we can possibly be. So this is to say, many times when you come to business, you don't necessarily have to create something new. You just have to correct what is already in place. I hope that makes sense this morning. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thank you very much, Davida. It really made a lot of sense, trust me. And I learned a lot.
Alright, thank you for that.
Tell us some of the things you learned.
One of the things I learned is not all criticism is bad.
Yeah.
You get like so most of the time criticism can help to highlight area of improvement where someone needs to you need to develop on this part, you need to develop on this part. You get there, and at times it can be bad. It can bring some people's morale down. It can lower some people's morale.
Yeah.
I think one of the things also is that we just need to learn how to criticize people. Like we need to criticize people like based on, I don't know, the same way you criticize Vitas might not be the same way Favor will take it when you're criticizing him.
Yeah.
Some people, there are people that if you shout at them in public, they will change it for you.
Yeah.
Some people will start crying, and some people it will not affect them emotionally at all. They tend to see it as correction. Probably they are used to that. She get, and imagine the person that is crying, the person that is angry, that is shouted at him or her in public. The person will not take it lightly, and what even if you are right, the person will not want to believe you are right at that point. She get, so we just need to, if in case you are going to criticize somebody and not going to correct somebody, you should tend to know, okay, fine, this is the person's emotional stability. This person can take it, this person cannot take it. So that's one of the things. I don't even know. We should just try to filter our criticism, Sha. I think that, let me just say it like that.
Well, I think when it comes to criticism, most people, or most of the time when it takes place, there's nobody even give a damn about your feeling, your emotions, or anything. That's one dangerous thing about criticism, because in the first place, most of the time it doesn't come with the solution, right? And for instance, the Farmer King guy we were talking about, he doesn't cook jollof rice, and he won't tell you how to cook it. He will just tell you that it doesn't taste like so and so. Because I doubt if by himself he knows the amount of salt, the amount of seasoning, and all those things that are supposed to be involved in a particular volume of rice that you're cooking, right? But he just tells you what he thinks it should be, and then whichever way you like, take it. So most of the time, criticism doesn't really care about your emotions. And that's why correction is entirely different. You see, when we started, we were saying that correction most of the time comes from the place of love, place of wanting you to improve, place of wanting you to become better, to do things in a better way, right? Such that even when it comes to business and you want to correct something, you can even make a business out of it. That is, this industry must get better. That is, I'm contributing my own quota to make sure this industry get better. But when it comes to criticism, most of the time people who criticize don't even have what it takes to do anything. And I don't know if you have heard this saying that those who matter don't care and those who care don't matter. That saying goes on to say that those who matter, that is those that will help you become better in whatever area of your life, don't really care about what you have done or how you have done it. They care about you becoming better from the point you are moving forward. But those who care that don't really matter, those are the people who actually criticize, because they will not help you to become better, they will not help you further in whatever it is you are doing, but they will criticize you until you lose focus or energy or strength to even do better. So most of the time, instead of actually learning to criticize, we should embrace the side of correction the more. And like I said, you may not be the one carrying the solution in your hands, but you surely do know who has the solution. So if you're doing something wrong, you come across somebody doing something wrong, and you know the solution is not within your grasp, after telling the person that, okay, I think you could have done this better, then you tell them, okay, why don't you reach out to this person? He can help you actually do this better. Stuff like that, right? And on the flip side of criticism is also that there are certain places where criticism is actually what makes sense, especially in politics, because that's like the only thing you can do. Though in Nigeria now you have to be careful because there is freedom of speech, but what happens after the freedom is what nobody can tell you, right? So in politics, for instance, criticism, that's what we do, because that's like the only way your voice is heard. In fact, it's even difficult to correct anything, because if you see the road that's not bad and you think you have money, if you try to fix it, the government can sue you for doing that. And then there are people also that will not improve until they are being criticized. So, but what to do with each person will be determined by how much you know them and how close they are to you. So that's on the flip side. But most of the time, for you to do anything great and to help people become better, you have to embrace correcting them. That is, knowing that I don't have you in mind to do evil to you, or to make you belittle yourself, or for me to belittle you in any way. All I have is to make sure you get better, you become better, you're a good person, your business grows, your career gets better and stuff like that. You embrace correction. But criticism most of the time is for the political world. And if there's anybody you really care about, you will rather correct. In fact, correct in love rather than criticizing. Does that make sense?